What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're going to be doing another overall market update, looking at the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, as well as the Nasdaq Composite, and we're going to be talking about a quick little trading update on one ETF that I was able to trade today, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys can already guess what that ETF is based on what I've been trading over the past couple of days. We're going to talk about how much money you need to start trading in the stock market, as well as a bunch of other stocks and ETFs that I'm watching for the rest of this week and heading into the latter half of November in 2018. So for those of you guys that are new to my channel, my name is Stas, and I make videos dealing with swing trading, day trading, long-term investing, and my personal philosophies and strategies when it comes down to investing and trading in the stock market. So for those of you guys that want to learn more about that, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram as well as on Twitter, and join both of our Discord group chats as well as our Facebook group. All of those are linked down below in the description box. And if you guys want to be in contact with our community throughout the trading day, and we're being very helpful in that trading community, join that Discord group chat down below. We're talking about stocks, trading, investing, strategies, news, call outs throughout the entire day. And I believe we have about 250 people in there. So it's a pretty active chat, very helpful, guys. And, it's all positivity and just lifting each other up, which I love about that chat. So again, all of those are linked down below in the description box. And, let's start with today's video. So we saw, the overall markets today ended up playing out very nicely. So we've seen, over the past couple of days, guys, if we're looking at the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq, we've been having, a sell-off, right? We noticed a couple of weeks ago, we started to see some momentum in the overall stock market. We had green day after green day after green day after green day. And, we were talking about how, we could potentially see a pullback in the near-term future due to all these green days that we were having in a row. And pretty much that's what ended up happening the past couple of trading days, right? We noticed in terms of the Dow Jones here, the same thing with the S&P and the Nasdaq. We were trading, pretty much selling off over the past couple of days. And one really good thing here, guys, from today is that we pretty much held this higher low pattern in terms of the bounce in today's overall market. So that's a very good sign and one step forward in terms of the market slowly starting to turn around. And by that, I mean, guys, check this trend line out that I'm going to draw right here. So we notice, the big sell-off all the way down here in terms of the Dow Jones at about $24,500. We popped up here at $26,000. And now if we hold this point right here, that's a higher low from the previous low. And if we continue to push up here, that means that we're still on an uptrending pattern in terms of a technical basis and, in terms of the overall Dow Jones. So, overall today in the markets, guys, a bunch of the stocks that I was actually talking about in yesterday's video, some of them being Apple, Square, and AMD, they all had pretty solid days, right? We saw Apple go to about $185-ish. I think that was yesterday, right? And today we were able to rally up to about 100. Let's take a look. I think it was like 190 something, right? About 191. So we were able to rally in terms of Apple. AMD was doing very well today as well. And same with Square. But before we do talk about these stocks, guys, let's take a look at the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, very similar, guys. We noticed that, it was selling off over the past couple of days, after all these green days that we had. And now we're holding this, uptrending trend right here. And let me just redraw this trend line for you guys so I can make it a little bit clearer. So we're holding this little trend line here of a higher low, which is a very good sign. And we noticed that, on both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, we are right under a resistance point here at the 50-day simple moving average. So keep an eye on this, guys, tomorrow's trading and heading into next week to see if the overall markets are going to hold this little trend here that we've drawn out by the trend line by breaking above this 50-day simple moving average. And if it does, the next stop would be the 180 SMA, which is, a very good sign. If it does get above that 180 SMA, that we are heading, officially, not really officially, but we're heading out of that correction mode, or, the sell-off that we've been in over the past couple of trading days. So, S&P, solid day today, up $28, up about 1%. The Nasdaq, guys, up about, 0.8%, or not the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones up 0.8%. And the Nasdaq had a pretty strong day today, strongest index out of the three that we talk about. This one had a 120-point day today, up about 1.77%. And a lot of this is due to Apple having a pretty strong day today, guys. It was up about 2.5%, up about $4.61, and this definitely helped, push the Nasdaq up to beat pretty much the other two indexes, right? So very good moves today in terms of Apple and, those other stocks that we talked about, and those really, helped the overall market. So in terms of a technical look here, guys, we held above that support level that we were talking about in yesterday's video in terms of the Nasdaq. And now we're pushing up with the next resistance being at this 50 SMA indicator and the next resistance being at the 180 SMA. So overall, guys, the markets are looking solid today. A much needed green day after, we saw a pretty, nice, strong sell-off over the past couple of days. So, one thing I also wanted to talk about in this video is that semiconductor stocks literally just dropped. They like what's the term? They dropped like a falling knife, or they like a goose egg. I don't know how to put it, guys. You know what I mean? They dropped after market hours, and this is mostly due to Nvidia's very, very poor earnings. And if we just take a look at what I'm talking about here, let's just take a look at AMD very quickly. Very strong day in terms of AMD, but we saw exactly what I said. We dropped like a goose egg. Boom, from $21 all the way down to $19. That was a very strong drop in AMD. Same thing with Micron, guys. Take a look at this. This one dropped very strongly as well, and this is mostly due to Nvidia's, poor earnings report that they just reported today. I'm not going to go too deep into that because I don't want this video to be too long, but take a look at this, guys. This is pretty important in terms of the semiconductor stocks. If you guys are invested in those, like I personally am in Micron, take a look at that, and it's very important. Oh, someone's calling me. Hold up, guys. I gotta call her back. But yeah, so overall, guys, the semiconductor stocks have been taking a hit, and that's just because of Nvidia's very poor earnings. And again, just take a look at that if you guys are interested in terms of that. So let's just talk quickly about, before I do get into what stock, or ETF rather, I traded today. Let's talk about how much money do you need to start trading in the stock markets. So first and foremost, guys, if you're just starting out to trade, you don't really have much experience in the overall stock market, I would advise you to start paper trading, which means, trading with fake money to really hone in your strategy and understand how the overall stock market moves, and, how the overall ETFs and different stocks that we trade on this channel move. Because the last thing I would want you to do is, deposit your own your hard-earned money into an account without having a strategy, without really understand how trading works, and then wiping out that entire account, pretty much losing all of your money. So first and foremost, guys, start paper trading if you're completely new. And if you've already done paper trading, you kind of understand the basics of trading stocks and all of that cool stuff, well, I would recommend you to start out an account with at least $100 to $300. And if you do have a little bit more experience and you want to go a little bit higher, maybe you can start with $1,000, $2,000. And it all pretty much just depends on what your risk tolerance is and how much money you're willing to lose, because you could potentially lose all of that money by trading stocks. Well, if you do want to start out with $100, $200 to $300, there is one problem with this. If you're only trading with that much money, guys, you need to be in a commission-free brokerage. Like for me, for example, guys, I use Fidelity, and they charge $4.95 per buy and $4.95 per sell. So each time I buy and sell a stock, I'm pretty much paying $10 to Fidelity for those transactions, right? So for a beginner that only has $100 to $300, that could really wipe out all of your profits that you do make in the stock market. So for example, guys, if you have $100 account, let's say, for example, right? and you get a 10% gain on a trade, you have $110. But if you're paying that $10 commission, let's say on Fidelity, you'll only have $100. So you're pretty much wiped out your profit because you're paying for the commission. So this is why I recommend all beginners out there that have already paper traded, that are trying to, invest and start trading with a small amount of money, to sign up with a free brokerage, which means commission-free brokerage. And Robinhood is my personal favorite one, and one that I've already used in the past, for about a year, not really a year, for a couple of months at this point, right? So Robinhood, guys, if you want to sign up to Robinhood, the link is down below in the description box. And if you do sign up through that link, we both get a free stock. So that means if you sign up through that link, you'll get a free stock and I'll get a free stock, and we're all happy, right? So if you guys want to have commission-free, trading, not paying for a buy, not paying for a sell, sign up to Robinhood. The link's down below in the description box, and let me know how you like it. So now let's talk about what ETF did I personally trade today. And you probably guessed it, right? It wasn't DGAS. It was UGAS, right? So let's talk about what happened today in the overall natural gas ETF market. And you guys, we've been watching these like hawks over the past couple of days because they've been ridiculously volatile. And we saw the natural gas report come out today. I'm going to look into an article in a little bit on what exactly happened there. So let's just get into it, guys. So today we saw UGAS was on fire yesterday, right? And today we saw a massive sell-off in the overall ETF. Literally overnight, guys, it went from 260 all the way down to about $100. So it almost lost like 70% of its value here, but we do see a little push that it had, midday here, right? So I took a position in UGAS as it broke out of this downwards trending pattern here. We noticed that natural gas was selling off pretty heavily, right, guys? Pretty heavily. It was like at $4.50 at the market open, I believe it was. Now it's all the way down to about $3.90. And pretty much, guys, I got in as we broke above this EMA, pretty much sold as we broke below this support level here after we got rejected by the 180 SMA. So I got in at about 120, guys. Wasn't really that big of a trade. I think I sold off at about like I think like 126, I believe. It was the break below this support level. It might have been like 125. All I know is that I made about 5 to 6% on the trade and was pretty happy with that, guys, because my goal for the day is about 4 to 5%. So hit that again with one trade, and I've pretty much just been trading UGAS every day pretty much this entire week. If you guys have been watching these trading updates, you would know that. So overall, guys, that's what I did today in terms of my trades. Quick little 5% on UGAS on a quick little trade right there. Let's just take a look at this article very quickly. I was actually just looking at AMD to see what's going on here because, again, NVIDIA Q3 disappoints, shares plummet. That pretty much affected Micron, AMD, NVIDIA, obviously. And we're not talking about that. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about this natural gas article that I was reading on Market Watch. So natural gas suffers biggest one-day percentage drop in more than 15 years. And if you guys read articles yesterday, they were talking about how natural gas saw the biggest increase in about like 10, 15 years. So literally the biggest increase and the biggest drop in a matter of 15 years in 2 straight days in a row. That's pretty interesting, right, guys? So, one day it goes up 15, 20%, next day down 20%. Crazy how that goes. But natural gas futures dropped Thursday, posting their biggest one-day percentage decline in over 15 years, prompting prices to give up nearly all of their gains from just a day earlier, like I just said, right? So December natural gas, or let's read this one. A weekly rise in U.S. supplies of natural gas prompted the deep, strong, coming in nearly double the 5-year average. Pretty interesting there, right? So December natural gas dropped by almost 80 cents or 16% today to settle to 4.08 per million British thermal units. That was the biggest single session percentage drop since February in 2003. That's pretty interesting, guys. So I wanted to look at this part right here. With strong certain to be low throughout the winter, or with storage certain to be low throughout winter, expect volatility to remain elevated relative to normal. So this is why we've been seeing some crazy volatility in natural gas, guys. Just keep an eye on the storage units here. With storage certain to be low throughout winter, right? Expect volatility to remain elevated relative to normal. A global commodity analyst at Schneider Electric Global Research and Analytics wrote, while that means potential for price spikes on any turn towards colder weather, it also means potential to unwind those gains quickly if conditions remain more relative or more mild relative to seasonal averages. So pretty much what that means, guys, is that keep an eye on this weather. If this weather continues to get, freezing throughout November, right, throughout the end of November, this could cause another gas spike. But if we're seeing, start to warm up, that means that, the natural gas could, dump like it did today, right? So it's all about seeing and paying attention to these storage units and just watching and keeping, up to date with all the news in terms of natural gas. And that's going to give you, keen insight on what to trade, whether it be UGAS, whether it be DGAS, or any of the other natural gas ETFs out there. So, that is what I'm looking at in terms of UGAS, DGAS, natural gas. These semiconductors have fallen. Square did very well today. AMD did very well today, but it took a dump. Post-market hours, after market hours, which was very, very interesting. And what I'm trading tomorrow, guys, let's take a look at natural gas very quickly. I'm very interested in taking a position in UGAS tomorrow if natural gas is able to hold this support on the 50 SMA tomorrow at about $3.90. And that's actually exactly where it is right now. So tomorrow, if we wake up pre-market hours, whatever, and we see natural gas starting to push up, starting to show a sign of a bounce here on the 50 SMA, that could be a very good entry point in terms of UGAS, in my personal opinion. So keep an eye on UGAS tomorrow, guys. There's a ton of potential here in terms of that. If we're able to see another natural gas spike tomorrow, it's going to be very interesting to see how AMD is going to react tomorrow during the market, after it took this big drop since, NVIDIA posted bad earnings today. So NVIDIA, guys, shot down these semiconductors, and they do have potential tomorrow, in my personal opinion, for a bounce back, but we got to see if it's able to hold this trend line right here. So AMD, guys, at the top of my list tomorrow for sure. Square, guys, did very well today. 5.43% day. Keeping an eye on Square as well. And, Apple has a ton of potential tomorrow too, because Apple, guys, this one's been getting hammered. And, since the market has seemed to have a very strong green day today, if we're able to follow that tomorrow with another green day, I do see Apple being a pretty good trade tomorrow. So overall, guys, tomorrow, what I'm watching in terms of stocks is Apple, AMD, and Square. And what I'm watching in terms of ETFs, I'm watching UGAS very closely with the natural gas commodities and the other natural gas ETFs that we talk about on this channel, because they've been ridiculously volatile. And if we want to make some pretty good money to end off the week, I think UGAS/DGAS, whichever one does end up having the better day tomorrow, is a pretty good place to look if you want to grab a nice chunk of profit potential, because they've been flying 50% every single day for the past couple of days. So that's what I'm doing in terms of the overall markets today, guys. Tomorrow, that's my plan. And, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and join our Discord group chat as well as our Facebook group. And make sure to do your own research, guys, when you're trading, investing in stocks. Do not buy or sell based off my opinion or anybody else's opinion out there, because that's not how you're going to become a self-sufficient, successful investor/trader over the long term, which is the whole entire idea and goal of this channel. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great night. Peace out.